Let's move.
Let's move, Rich says.
Let's go.
He's ready to roll.
Rich is calling this meeting to order.
Rich, what's the first thing I should do? Should I share the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sounds good. Sure. Got a
All
flag.
right. Please join Rich in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
And next is the four-way test of the things
Things
that
we think, say, or do.
Say or
Is
do.
it the
Is
truth?
it the truth?
Is
it shared all
concern?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it friendship? Will it be beneficial
To all concerned.
I know, gotta add them.
That's miserable.
Thank you. And Randy Rudacious is doing Thought for the Day.
Hi, everybody. I thought we'd talk about resilience a little bit today. Need a little bit of that nowadays. Got 3 quotes for you here. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of overcoming it. And that's Helen Keller. Resilience is, of course, necessary for a warrior, but lack of empathy is not. That's a guy named Phil Clay. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change, and that's Charles Darwin. And on a lighter note, one of my favorite comedians, Rodney Dangerfield, says, "My psychiatrist told me I'm going crazy. I told him, if you don't mind, I'll get a second opinion. He also said, all right, you're ugly too." So thank you.
All right.
Very nice, Randy. Would you send those to me, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Would everybody please remember to mute yourselves so that we don't have as much feedback and the speakers can get the proper amount of attention. Thank you. Michelle Garner, are you on here yet?
She's there. I saw her.
Rich, did you just hear my memo about muting?
No. Okay.
Michelle, let's see.
I see her too. Rich is right.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
But she's muted.
Michelle, you're up. That's you. Can you unmute her?
I asked her to unmute.
She's got to do it.
Rich knows.
Yep. Thank you.
We're going to come back to Michelle.
Sure. Michelle, just unmute when you're able, and Julian will come back to you.
Thank you. It is the 1st of March, and so we get to celebrate birthdays
Second.
and anniversaries, which also is a good reminder of how good news will be today. So please speak up if I get it wrong or I miss you. Coleman Cook, March 9th. Hazel Hoff, March 9th. Tim White, March 11th. Dan Bonner, March 12th. Susie Wilkinson, March 12th. Ashley Kane, March 16th. Jody Corey, March 17th. Chris Stillwell, March 20th. Loretta Conway, the 25th. Greg Stepman, the 25th. Brett Allison, the 26th. And Adam Maines, the 27th. Happy birthday, Rotarians. And then for anniversaries, we have Rod Hanna at 38 years, Paul Hebert at 10, Jim Nowak at 33, Coleman Cook at 21, Marcy Valicenti at 8, Alyssa Green at 4, and Andy Wallace at 3 years. Impressive. Just right there, we have over 100 years of Rotarian service. That's so cool. And if Michelle's still having trouble, you want to go ahead and make her announcement?
I believe the announcement that she was going to make is that we are doing Lift Up today. So if anybody wants to donate to Lift Up, you can put it in the chat and I will write you down and bill you on the April billing.
Thank you, Ange. How about a moment to introduce our guests and visiting Rotarians? Please speak up. Tracy, you can be my guest since that always makes Mark mad.
Don't make
Hi
me.
everyone, nice to see you.
I think this was Tracy's 3rd or 4th meeting. So we're excited to get her an application here pretty soon. Anybody else visiting?
Hi, Jennifer. Nice to see you all.
Jennifer, thanks for being here. We've got Jennifer's application and we had her orientation last week. So be expecting to hear her readings in a couple of weeks or next week, probably. I think that might be it. Oh, I see some good names. Announcements. We've got a number of announcements today. We'll start off with Karen Ray and John Weibel.
Hey there. Is John on here too?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, so we met out at the dairy farm and chose a date of Saturday, June 26th to host the farm to table dinner. And I'm going to help John kind of coordinate all that with volunteers and timing and marketing and that kind of stuff. And I tried to look up to see if we had any conflict events in town. But again, like you guys were saying earlier, the Chamber of Commerce events calendar hasn't really been fully uploaded for the summer as they wait and see. So we felt that the 26th of June gave John time to grow some veggies. And it was the Saturday before the 4th of July holiday. So we're looking for feedback if anyone knows of anything else that would be a conflict. Okay, so it sounds, oh, go ahead, John.
Yeah, and if anybody, I plan on getting everything planted here in a couple of weeks, and pretty much everything will be done by myself except for volunteers the day of it, and maybe a little bit of help the day before, a couple days before. So
yeah, I think I've got girlfriends that ate your blue cheese over the weekend that came from Silverthorne and loved it. And they want to come and pay to come to the dinner. And they said they'd come in a day early and help set up. So, and then my friend that I told you about from Florida that's building a house down the road from you said he would love to help you in the kitchen. So we've already got 3 volunteers signed up.
Great. So do you want me to have people who, in the write-up, should I have people reach out to Karen or John or both of you for volunteers?
You can do it to me and then I'll keep a list. And once we've got specific things that we know we need and times and dates. So the first thing is John's going to work on a menu and we're going to do a save the date that we can send out. So I'll work with whoever in our club deals with like the media, like the radio station or the newspaper. We don't think we want to promote it to the public until 4 to 6 weeks ahead because we know people then forget. But we don't want to wait too long so that they're already got a conflict. So we're looking at that mid-May that we'd like to start making it public that we're doing this.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Sure.
Next up, we have Dan Bonner.
Oh, there he is.
Thank you, Jillian. It is my pleasure today to introduce 2 new members to the club. We have Sarah Loughran and Chuck Sarasoli. We'll go with ladies first. Sarah's sponsors are Jillian and Ashley Kane. So Ashley, would you like to lead us off with an introduction of Sarah?
Hi. Hi, Sarah, you look like you're somewhere warm. Well, actually, Jillian has, she's going to do a little bit more of the real introduction, but I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed getting to know Sarah. She moved here from California, but she has come back to her Colorado roots, and she is going to be a great member to our club, and she's excited to to get to know everybody. So I'm really looking forward to it. Jillian?
Well, I cheated because I asked Sarah for Cliff Notes. Like Ashley said, she's a Colorado native, grew up in Eagle and Edwards, and just moved back to Colorado 9 months ago after living in California. And is thrilled to be here again. Her career was in business, the business side of healthcare, and I really enjoyed. We were just talking about maybe posting people's bios online, because it's so cool when you get a chance to read new members' bios. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But now she is very focused on environmental issues and very passionate about the environment. She's just joined the board at the Yampa Valley Sustainability Council. And she was on the search and rescue in California and again here in Colorado. One daughter who is 19 and a freshman, and she loves being outside and is up for anything. I've found out she's always saying yes to a coffee or a hike or a walk. Loves to read, travel, cook, and spend time with good friends. And just like Ashley, Sarah and I got together for coffee, and at the end of our coffee, I was like, I think I could keep talking for about 4 more hours. I'm really excited to get to know you better and have you as part of this club.
Well, great. Thank you guys both so much. Yes, I am somewhere warm. I'm in Southern California where it is a balmy 70 something. But thank you so much. And oh shoot, there's something I was going to say. Oh, I know. So my name, just FYI, is pronounced Lockren, like it's L-O-C-K. And I don't really expect anybody to remember that, but just in case you happen to, I thought I'd just put it out there one time. Thanks.
Thank you for correcting me on that, Sarah. I wasn't sure exactly how that's pronounced, but we'll all get Lochran correct in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Club.
Thank you.
All right, our second new member is Chuck Sarasoli, who gave a presentation to us 4 or 6 weeks ago, and he's decided to join Rotary. Chuck's sponsors are Angela and Carl. Angela, do you want to lead off?
Sure, I can do that. It's funny, I first met fellow Vermonter Chuck back in May of 2000 here in Steamboat. We were on the banks of the Yampa River getting ready to go on a whitewater rafting trip on the Eagle with our friend Tommy. And we proceeded with several, I think we ran the Crystal together too, which was a little hairy. We also got to do the White Rim several times, and this was all before kids, of course, although I think I was actually pregnant the last time we did White Rim with Liam. But he not only, like, he's such a great guy. He served our community for over 20 years on the fire department. He actually helped build the Rotary Trail. And then he has also danced his booty off for CASA a few years ago, which was hysterical. I hope if you guys haven't seen that, you should maybe, I don't know if it's still out there, but you should Google Chuck Sarasoli and take a look at that video. He's, you know, he's thoughtful, he's smart, he's funny, he's just an all-around great guy. He's married to an amazing lady named Lynn who works in our ER. And then they also have a beautiful daughter, Isabella, who plays soccer with the U14 girls. So we are so fortunate. I'm so excited, one, to have you as our fire chief, but also even more so as a Rotarian finally. Yay!
Well, I had the good fortune of knowing Chuck's wife before I knew Chuck. As Ange said, she's a nurse in the hospital's emergency department, has been ever since I came to work here back in 2000. And then Chuck was, as we know, just started with the fire service then as a paramedic and started showing up in the ED and seemed to be hanging around a little more than was necessary in the calls. And then he married Lynn, and I think it was an equal part who got the better deal. They're just a great couple. And then as I got more involved with the fire department, the fire board, got to know Chuck in a professional way. and just really happy. Was enjoyed working with him as acting chief and as deputy chief, and just thrilled to have him now as the chief of the department, and also now a member of Rotary. So absolutely welcome, Chuck. We're great to have you.
Thank you, guys. I certainly appreciate all the kind words. I'm super excited to finally join Rotary, and I really, it's all about timing, and so I appreciate Carl and Angela acting as my sponsors. But I do also want to shout out to everybody who offered sponsorship for me. I had a lot of folks that really were pulling me for many years to try to join Rotary, and timing just worked out well, and so. I'm excited to be part of Rotary, so I appreciate everyone, and I'll slowly work my way into being a little more comfortable with the group. But thanks.
All right. Welcome, Chuck. So Sarah, Chuck, you've been chosen by the Rotary Club of Steamboat because your fellow members believe you to be leaders, and because you show those qualities of integrity and commitment that allow you to interpret and impart the message of Rotary. It's my pleasure to present you to our fellow Rotarians. Sarah, Chuck, welcome to the Rotary Club of Steamboat. Madam President, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. Welcome, Sarah and Chuck. Next person we have is Scott Marr.
Thank you, President Jillian. When you donate $1,000 to the Rotary International Foundation, you become a Paul Harris Fellow, and you receive one of these. And this was meant for Michelle Garner today, who's not here, correct, Jillian? Oh, and one of those. And Jillian's got that one.
Michelle is here.
Oh, she is? Michelle? I thought we asked for her earlier and she was not here.
We had some
She's
audio
having a
problems.
sound problem.
So Michelle is here?
Yep.
There.
Well, anyway, we want to recognize Michelle Garner, who received her Paul Harris Fellow. And this, Michelle, this will be available to you in my office at the Holiday Inn. You can come by and pick it up. If you want to, just call me or send me a text first, and we'll make arrangements for you to pick it up. And then we also want to recognize Carl Gills. And Carl Gills, you don't have a certificate for him because you only get one for the first one, Jillian. But Carl Gills is being recognized as a Paul Harris +2, which means he has given $3,000 to the Rotary Foundation. Congratulations, Carl. He's not saying anything.
Thank you.
And this, Carl, this will be at my office. Just call me or send me a text, and I'll have it there for you to pick up.
I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're
proud
welcome.
to be a Paul Harris +2.
Yeah, and proud to have you guys as part of our club, and thank you for your donations to Rotary International Foundation. It's yours, all yours, President Jillian.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Congratulations, Michelle and Carl. So great. John Holloway, you're up next.
Thank you, President Jillian. Am I off mute?
We can hear you just fine.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yes, about a year ago, you guys probably remember they shut the ski area down. Oh, and the rest of the economy and everything else in the whole world, it seems. And here we are almost a year later, and we're going to try and do a ski day. So 2 weeks from today, we're going to join up at the T-Bar after the Zoom meeting. We'll have a short Zoom meeting, and then we'll meet at the T-Bar for a car bomb or two, or maybe a car bomb or a half is more like it. And from there, we'll go skiing for the afternoon. And if things stay COVID-wise about the same as they are now, and we end up with the same size group that we typically have, which is about 20 or 25 people, I think we'll be able to find some socially distant space at the T-Bar for a couple of drinks and maybe an app or two if we can. I'll keep everybody posted on the COVID situation as far as the restaurant goes, but right now that's what we're going to try and do, is ski together on the 16th, which is the day before St. Patrick's Day. So if everyone would like to dress up with some St. Patrick's Day Luck of the Irish green, that'd be awesome. And we'll have a good time. And that's it for me. Thanks, Jillian.
Thanks, John. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it looks like today out there on the 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did Linnea make it on? If not, I will do her announcement.
I did not see her.
All right. She is working on putting together a team for the Manic Ignite event that's coming up this weekend. It is through Manic, but something they're doing that's really cool, which PJ talked about a little bit last week, was anybody who signs up using the coupon code Rotary gets $10 off, and Rotary gets $20 from the registration fee. So they're doing a great job kind of spreading the nonprofit love this year. So the Rotary team that's put together so far, according to Linnea, you guys that I'm about to call out can tell me I'm wrong, but she says Stacy Fain, Larry Minogle, and she said, Ian, you were gonna do it. Well, no, she said she's trying to talk you into it, so I'm peer pressuring you publicly.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. She was talking about doing a hand cycle ride. I don't know where, when, what, but I'm in. I'll be
You
around.
can do it with my family.
Okay.
All right, we'll be in touch. Great. So they just need 2 more participants to be part of that 5-person team. So if you're interested, reach out to Linnea. And then Brett Allison, you're up next for the poker run.
Hey, Jillian, before you go forward, can I add something about the former pentathlon, now the Manic? I just wanted to remind people in the club, and especially new members, that once upon a time, not so long ago, the Rotary Club held the record for the pentathlon, finishing the long course, and I can't remember how short it was, but it was still when Mike Roberts was alive and a couple other people who were super fast. So we maintained that, and I'd encourage anybody that can do it to jump in there with Stacy and Ian, and it's a blast. Thanks.
Thanks, John. I didn't know. That's big pressure on that Rotary team now. Brett, are you up?
I am here. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to give you a quick update on the poker run that we're going to be having on March 20th. We have all been working on that very diligently, and it's coming along very well so far. So we're going to be putting out just a notice on the event, hopefully either this afternoon, maybe tomorrow, and I'll have all the details in that, and we'll be working on getting it up in Facebook and the registration hopefully tomorrow as well. I did want to just make one mention. There are some snowmobile companies listed on the sheet. And if you are interested, if you're not a snowmobiler or you need a snowmobile, I'd recommend reaching out quickly, because obviously limited number of sleds, it'll be first come, first serve. And we'd love to have you out on riding. If you've never done it before, that's okay. There'll be plenty of people to kind of go with or to help. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself or Eric, and we hope to make this a really good event for Rotary. So thank you very much.
Any questions right now for Brett? Anybody need clarification on anything, or?
May
All
I
good?
that Eventbrite to pay, unless you did. I didn't hear.
I'm not hearing the question.
It was Joanna.
Oh,
maybe you learned how to tune her out. She was asking about Eventbrite for registration.
Yeah, Loretta has put in some time in doing that. I had a message from her that she believes it's up and running, ready to go tomorrow. So we'll just clarify her with that. Jillian, I will send you the number of contacts for the snowmobile rental, and maybe if you can send them out with today's meeting notes, and people can reach out if they care to.
That'd be great. And then you brought up a good point about if you're never ever on a snowmobile, there won't be any technical riding. It's just,
Nope, everything's going to be on a trail. I mean, if you want to get technical, you can always pull off the trail. Good luck. But there'll be plenty of people to help, and there'll be plenty of people to ride with that can assist you along the way and to make it a safe and fun experience.
thanks, Brett.
Yeah.
For all the work you guys are putting in on that. Am I missing anybody with announcements? Anybody have anything else that we haven't done? All right. Well, then moving on to our new member introduction talks, which we used to call classifications, but nobody knew what that was anymore. So Steve brought us up to speed on that one. So we have Kit and Peter Paulin. There are two talks today, and Kit and Peter, have you decided who's going first?
I believe Kit was going to go first, and then Pete after that. Kit said she was going to do her best to put everyone to sleep, and then Pete could wake us back up again.
I doubt
the reason I'm talking so much is because she wanted me to burn some time while she prepared to share her screen. She has to select like 1 million images before actually going ahead to share her screen. So, without further ado, here we go. Oh, Kit, you're on mute. There we go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jillian, and thank you, Mark. And also thank you, Loretta Conway and Karen Schneider, for sponsoring me for membership into this vibrant club. Peter and I cannot wait until we can all enjoy person-to-person meetings again, so that when we can get to know each other better. The goal today is to give you a 9-minute introduction to myself, so that when we are able to share a table in the future, we can explore commonalities and debate differences. With that in mind, I'll touch on the things I remember fondly growing up and am most proud of decade by decade, and I will try not to say I more than 100 times. I was born in 1953 in Maroa, Illinois, a small farm town of 1,200 people smack dab in the middle of Illinois. Corn and soybean fields surrounded us. My ancestors arrived there in a covered wagon in 1854. I am the third of 4 daughters of the world's best parents. We lived across the street from my father's parents, who were the world's best grandparents. My father and grandfather owned the local insurance agency. They focused on crop insurance. Life was enjoyed with total freedom to run in packs of kids anywhere in town, as long as we didn't cross the hard road. In the 1950s, I was most proud of the fact that I could keep a hula hoop up longer than my older sisters could. The 1960s brought grade school and high school. There was cheerleading and horseback riding, 4-H, piano contests, flute playing in the marching band, and I was on the state champion archery team. I was a lifeguard, and there was lots and lots of tetherball back then. Our summer and winter family vacations were spent year after year on Crystal Lake in northern Michigan. There I learned to water and snow ski with dear family friends, and there were summer car trips all over America. In the 1960s, my greatest achievement was to receive the American Legion Award in both 8th grade and high school graduation. I am most proud of that because it was an award that was voted on by your classmates, those kids that were by my side, often from kindergarten through high school. There were 70 in my graduating class in 1971. We will gather to celebrate our 50th reunion this fall at homecoming. Our tiny little school has won the state championship in football twice in recent years and has been runner-up at least 8 times that I can remember. Their remarkable coach was just inducted into the Illinois High School Football Hall of Fame this past year. So you can imagine what folks do back home on Friday nights. The 1970s brought college. Several of my friends and I were proud to head an hour away to Champaign, Illinois, to the University of Illinois. And by the way, we have a great basketball team this year. The Illini are currently ranked number 5 in the nation. After graduating in 3.5 years with high honors and an advanced degree in pinball and beer drinking, I headed to Chicago to live downtown with a few of my Alpha Gamma Delta sorority sisters. It was early 1975 and the economy was reeling from a recession and a market decline similar to 2008. Despite a successful education career, I struggled landing a job, and after 3 months accepted a job as a secretary to the #1 stockbroker in a large brokerage firm, Blythe Eastman Dillon. This was a very fateful experience. My fabulous first boss insisted that I get my securities licenses, as he was also an advance man for Presidents Nixon and Ford. He would take long international trips and I would take care of his clients in his absence. This beginning ultimately led to my career, which I will soon describe. Now it's the 1980s. After working in Chicago for almost 5 years and attending Northwestern University's MBA program in the evenings, I wanted to pursue an interest in flying. I moved to Prescott, Arizona to attend Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. There I obtained my commercial and instrument licenses and met my husband of 38 years, Peter Paulin. We moved to Tucson, Arizona, his hometown. After working in the aircraft industry briefly, I returned to the investment world and became a broker with Payne Weber. Eventually, Peter and I had 2 sons, Prescott and Parker, and I became a stay-at-home mom for a few years. My greatest adventure in the 1980s was to become a part of a wonderful new family. In 1990, we returned to Illinois to raise the boys in the Midwest near my world's best parents. I returned to work and became the stockbroker at a local bank in Decatur, Illinois. I also joined Rotary in 1991 and have been a proud member ever since. In 1993, I transferred to the investment firm of A.G. Edwards and Sons. Over the years, I achieved the designation of Chairman's Counsel, which is their highest achievement level. In 2004, I was selected to be the producing branch manager of the local branch. We had 17 advisors in the branch, over $1 billion under management, and we were voted the best brokerage firm in Decatur, which is very similar to Best of the Boat here in town. In 2006, A.G. Edwards sold to Wachovia, which became Wells Fargo in the 2008 financial crisis. In 2009, Tad Edwards, son of our longtime chairman, established a new brokerage firm, Benjamin F. Edwards. Peter and I opened that 9th branch for the firm in 2010 in Decatur, Illinois. Benjamin F. Edwards now has 75 offices in 30 states. It was a very rewarding achievement to help advance this organization in what I call the 4th quarter of my ball game. The game was won and it was time to have fun. I certainly did that and am now in overtime, having retired in June 2019 and moved to Steamboat. Our lives back in Decatur, Illinois were full of community involvement of all kinds, including board positions on the Community Foundation, United Way, the local hospital and hospital foundation, the Chamber of Commerce, the Methodist Church, Partners in Education, and my very, very favorite, the Boys and Girls Club. In the 20-aughts, I was most proud to have organized an annual outing at our cabin in the country for about 100 kids from the club. The most popular prize of the day each year was the award for the weirdest bug caught. In the past decade, I am most proud to have retired with a precious group of clients and 0 complaints on my U4, which is sort of an industry report card. Considering what volatile markets my clients experienced during my career, I'm most grateful for their trust and patience. It's been an interesting chapter since retiring. Oops. Well, I guess I don't get to share any more of my photos with you. Forgive me for that. I'll just talk for a few more minutes. Since retiring, my life has been filled with soul searching, skiing, fly fishing, pickleball, weaving, gardening, hiking, riding my recumbent tricycle, and our new e-bikes. and also learning how to use my fancy digital camera that my son gave me for retirement. I'm writing a book about my 8th great grandfather, who was one of the very earliest Dutch settlers to inhabit Manhattan. I've completed chapter 1, so at this rate, I'll have about 15 chapters by the time I turn 100. My dear husband keeps life very interesting, as you will soon learn. Our older son, Prescott, is a graduate of Babson College near Boston and a Rotarian. Has been living with us off and on during coronavirus. Otherwise, he'd be living in his home on Lake Decatur in Illinois. Our younger son, Parker, is a varsity rower and graduate of Colgate and Tuck at Dartmouth. He moved from Manhattan to Denver last fall. Neither are married and both are wonderful. All 3 of my men are high school graduates of Fountain Valley School of Colorado, just outside of Colorado Springs. Peter and I maintain a small cabin in Central Illinois that my parents built around 1970. It's very well known back home as a great place for a big party. We go there in mud seasons to enjoy the Midwest's beautiful spring and fall, and we always hope to get in some water skiing if we're there in warm weather. We are so very pleased to be a part of your lives through Rotary, and we look forward to helping with the many great events that you bring to the community. Thank you very much.
Kit, I tried real hard to pull up the pictures that you shared with me beforehand, but I couldn't get them to show up.
That's okay. We got through most of them.
Thank you, Kit. That was wonderful. I think we'll let Peter go, and then we can take a minute or two for questions for the both of you. We'll probably come up with more if we hear the other half of the story. Peter, you're up.
Pete, you're on mute.
But you're on mute.
Okay, and I'm ready to share when you're ready.
Am I there now?
Yep.
Nice. President Jillian, Mark, Loretta, Karen, thank you very, very much for this opportunity. Kit covered our family background history and the community side. And so we're going to take a brief 10-minute trip down the rabbit hole of entrepreneurial innovation. Each one of us has that unique path through life. And here's a couple of minutes of the road less traveled in a really unique, fascinating niche of deep cryogenic work in state-of-the-art science. This is an actual eureka moment that happened, and as I think you'll see in just a couple minutes, it evolved into an entire industry. Rotary, started by Paul Harris and 3 friends in February 23rd of 1905. The man on the left in that picture was my grandfather. That was on Dearborn Street in Chicago. My grandfather joined in 1915 at the first club. He was proud to have attended 50 years of Rotary without missing a single meeting. I was operating as a pilot when I met Kit and flying Learjets for heart and lung transplant. Got laid off in the middle of a change of technology. And so the next slide. We encountered a life challenge that was one that most everybody here has encountered, where you start young with no money at all. We were currently in 2 jobs earning $8 an hour, and both of our kids were in daycare at $8 an hour. And so you can do that math. And it led to a soul searching in the next picture. So this was the start of 300 Below. 300 Below is a deep cryogenic processing company. So think thermal processing, kind of like that old Western movie where you see somebody take a hoof and drop that piece of metal in the fire and then drop it into a quenchant. Well, what we did was extend that quench down to 300 degrees below zero, changing the material properties. And it led to some very significant breakthroughs, but we started the company on $400, literally in my basement. Kit kicked me out of the house and went over to an incubator, and my first month's rent was $60. Next slide. And so it led through a period. This is at our little cabin that you saw, but keep this picture in mind because it's a bit of a metaphor for the next few years. Started out pretty dark and bleak. It was about a 5-year challenge to grow an industry. But next slide. It turned out beautifully. It really did. We had great success in a number of areas, and those areas led us into a whole host of scientific accomplishments over the course of the last 30 years. Slide. Starting out, my degree was in aeronautical science and flew as a pilot in a Lear. And we started doing optics for the military, Air Force, and then deep space optics. On the next slide, this is an actual photograph of Saturn. And those rings, actually everybody on this conversation is in that picture. And if you look at the 10 o'clock, there's a little white dot there, right there. And that little dot is Earth. That's you, 850 million miles away. What we did was 300 blow treated the equipment by stress relief and stabilization to ensure that the data that was sent back 850 million miles was accurate. And so we stress relieved and stabilized the optical bench, camera body, and camera housing. That led us into a number of different areas. This is the beginning of our processors. And as you'll see, this first one's kind of small, like an ice cream processor that goes to 300 degrees below zero. Next slide. It got progressively larger as we went along. So we went from 15 feet to 120 cubic feet. And this next one, 800 cubic feet. And that 800 cubic feet enabled us to broaden out into a number of different areas. Next slide. This is my son and sidekick Sage in our operation. And we process currently about 1 million pounds of various types of steels, polymers, and different types of material for deep space in this operation. We're located in Decatur, Illinois, in about 17,000 square feet. Next slide. So this is a result of processing a gun barrel. And what you see is a gentleman holding a quarter. That quarter was here at Steamboat at the range, which you can see behind him, placed out 100 yards. And what's unusual about that is we have modified gun barrels for the military so that they're extremely accurate, 50% more accurate than in the past. As a result, that gives our warfighters a significant competitive advantage. Next slide. That advantage has led to the processing of over 1 million gun barrels in our facility. Next slide, 250,000 softball bats, 34,000 miles of guitar string, 2.2 million hair clippers where you get your hair done, 1.1 million gun barrels, 220,000 brake rotors in 217 locations around the world and 42 countries. Next slide. So these brake rotors we take into process, and the value proposition is it makes them last 300% longer for a cost of, typically 15 to 20%. So 300% gains for 15% cost. Next. We were awarded 2018's Innovative Solutions Award nationwide for cryo rotor because we've been processing for ambulances and buses now nationwide. Next. And next. Our operation grew in processing so that we're consistently doing over 100,000 rotors a year now in that operation, taking them to 300 below. Next. And next. Golf. Golf, someone came to us and said, what about golf clubs? And so we ended up with a fellow by the name of Jack Nicklaus and treating his personal clubs. He then took his entire line and we proceeded to process his entire line for a period of about 8 years for the Nicklaus Golf Company. Next slide. This is how I envision myself talking to you right now. That's how I met Kit in flight school, but here's how I actually look in reality. This was last year at our awards from the Fourth Revolution Awards. I was in Chicago for the Midwest Award of Innovation for the year. Next slide. My son works with me, extremely bright, and is now carrying the company, and I'm really grateful because he's really picked up in a lot of areas. Next one. So now what you see is that same picture that we started with that over 30 years has developed into a wonderful functional location as an industry for us and a company. It's been a wonderful life. Next slide. You can run these slides through in about 3 or 4 seconds. I'm happy as can be with Kit. She's still skiing. Got my 2 sons working with me. And the essence of compassion, resolved to be tender when the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, tolerant with the weak and wrong, because sometime in your life, you'll have been all of these. That's Sage here in Steamboat. And Kit wanted a voluptuous truck, so we got her a 1951 Chevy to take care of the Christmas tree. We live up on Fish Creek Falls Road. And our new concept of a traffic jam in Steamboat is 20 horses. We're liking it really well. That's Sage up at Steamboat Lake. Kit and my two sons. Her favorite hobby. We just got crashed by 4 dogs in the house right now. We're going to try and put them back out. That's my son, Prescott, and Parker. Over at Maroon Bells. And this was last night here in our home, celebrating my 64th birthday. So the newest member of our family. And now what we'll do is take you into just a brief video that was 2 weeks ago for Department of Defense. And this is the current state of the art of what we're doing in the electrical industry and also moving into electric motors concurrently.
Have you ever heard faint humming when you walk by a power line? That's the sound of burning money, as electric transformers lose energy and heat through poor conduction. Out of the $2 billion spent annually on energy by the Department of Defense, approximately $300 million is lost due to inefficient energy transmission. With every transformer losing energy passing through it, that is a lot of expensive humming and heat radiation. But our proven metal treatment process can help. 300 Below's technology reclaims 15% of this lost energy for the life of every treated electric transformer. Our one-time treatment is scientifically proven, ensuring repeatable results that will save up to $45 million in energy lost annually for the DoD due to energy inefficiencies. If every transformer lasts 25 years, that means over $1 billion saved across the DoD's energy ecosystem. So what's our secret? It's called cryogenic processing, and here's how it works. Every transformer loses energy through imperfections in its iron core. The iron core has millions of small gaps that hamper efficient electromagnetic flow. 300 Below uses a computer-controlled deep cryogenic process to cool metal to minus 300 degrees Fahrenheit. These extreme cold temperatures rearrange iron molecules to make them more uniform, which minimizes electrical resistance and improves transformer efficiency dramatically. By closing the microscopic gaps, we improve connectivity of the iron core, saving 15% of the transformer's lost electricity over its entire lifespan. So, how do we apply our process to transformers? It's simple. First, we locate the transformers needing treatment. Newly manufactured transformers are shipped to our facility in central Illinois for treatment. And for previously fielded equipment, we travel to each military base to treat transformers on location, without shipping or disassembly. Second, we wrap each transformer in insulation and use computer controls to accurately cool each item to minus 300 degrees Fahrenheit with non-toxic, chemical-free liquid nitrogen from the air we breathe. Third, after 24 hours, we remove the insulation around each transformer. Nitrogen is low pressure and creates no offsetting fumes, so it safely evaporates back into the atmosphere. Because Earth's atmosphere is nearly 80% nitrogen, the release is harmless, and the treatment is now complete. Why is 300 Below's process so beneficial? Our deep cryogenic process requires no replacements, no further maintenance, and no carbon emissions. It's a one-time treatment that will save 15% of the transformer's energy loss every day of every year for its entire 25-year lifespan. Here's why transformer energy leakage can save so much money. We can measure exactly how much energy goes into a transformer and exactly how much comes out. If one untreated transformer loses $20,000 a year worth of electricity, a cryogenically treated transformer will save $3,000 per year. Transformers last about 25 years, equating to savings of $75,000 over a lifetime. Multiply that times thousands of transformers at thousands of locations worldwide, And you're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars saved with a totally eco-friendly, low-maintenance, simple, one-operation solution. Our return on investment is the best part. 300 Below's cryogenic process will fully pay for itself in savings in just 1 year across each and every transformer treated. That's 24 years of savings with zero additional expense. Here's why we know it works. We've used our proprietary cryogenic process across every major industry that runs on metal parts, from NASCAR race engines to military helicopter parts. We dependably reduce maintenance downtime for machinery, vehicles, and tools, helping them perform many times longer than ever before. Our process was awarded multiple AFWERX Phase 2 SBIR contracts in 2019 and 2020. Plus, we earned 2019's Innovation of the Year in Midwest Manufacturing Technology at the 4th Revolution Awards. We're experts at converting at-risk metals into high-performing assets for thousands of clients, increasing sustainability through our green, environmentally friendly technology every step of the way. With no greenhouse emissions and no maintenance after the first treatment, we'll save hundreds of millions of dollars for the Air Force. Reducing wasted energy has never been so easy.
Thank you very much. Grateful for the opportunity and thrilled to be a component in Steamboat Springs. We look forward to helping however we can.
Thank you. We're so glad the two of you are here and that both of you are part of this club. It's really great getting to know you too. Are there any questions for either one of them? Anyone?
Yeah, Paul Hebert, go ahead.
I just wanted to know what your kind of annual revenue is from this these processes. Sounds really remarkable. It's a wonderful wonderful technology that you're using.
Thank you. Well, it is. It's we're a private company still and expanding currently in 42 countries. So our revenues are continuing to grow and grow and grow, and have found a myriad of operations. One of the newest now is electric motors for the automotive industry. So we now have a battery of patents that we're working with, and very optimistic, fun, very green, always something new and different every Monday. Never know what's going to happen, and so it's been a great 30 years.
PJ, did you have a question also?
Yeah, I did. Peter, talk to us about a certain water ski race you did in Southern California.
All right. Well, that's yeah. We've all been a little younger and a little less mindful than we are now. And at 18, I think it was running on too much testosterone. But there's a sport which is like snow skiing, but it's water ski speed ski racing. So we did 50 and 75-mile marathons, and the coup de grace, if you look it up on your Google, is the Catalina race. And so you tie on behind a fast boat and go 62 miles in the ocean, which is totally different than on the lake. To complete that, the year that we ran 132 boats, and I ended up trophying. We got third, but my big accomplishment at 19, which you look back and go, what were you thinking, was 113 miles an hour water skiing. So,
oh my God,
they've since broken that 139 barefoot. So, things have improved.
Wow. We have two people in the chat asking if you said we're still private. Does that mean you're planning to go public?
No, and it's primarily because there's no need, and so it's a wonderful company. We give a very compelling value proposition to a client, literally 300% gains for about 15% cost, and so that's a compelling value proposition. Our margins are I think the term insipid comes to mind. We border on 3,000%. So internal cash flow just parlays, and we don't need financing going forward. So good problem.
Yeah. There was another question over here. Stacy Fain's question, how did you come up with the idea of cryogenics to begin with?
I really didn't know a thing about cryogenics, and really didn't care. I didn't care about material science. My degree was in aeronautical science, and but very compelling. And it was that eureka moment that we all hopefully get at least one shot at. And I read an article that said twist drills, when treated as low as 300 below, can sometimes last 300 to 500% longer. And I looked at that and went, wait a minute, what? And so anyway, that drove me into it. We didn't invent the technology, but what we did do is happen to marry process control or computers to it back in the 90s, making it by a factor more efficient. So as a result, that's what drove us. And a true story, it was in my basement. I didn't know how computers control data, right? But how does a computer control the lights in your room? And so I took Kit's hair dryers and hooked them up to the computer, and I burned up 3 of her hair dryers, receiving the wrath, but finally got to the point where we could turn it off and on and control the temperature accurately. So.
I hope you replaced our hair dryers.
We did.
How about if we do Ian as our last question?
That's just fascinating. My first question had to do, before you just mentioned the hairdryer story, had to do with my interest in the video you shared around the transformers, and if your company, given the position you're in, has any, and as you mentioned, everything changed. You got every Monday stuff, so I get that. In our, I put this in the chat, in our antiquated infrastructure, you know, we really, our grid, our systems, our infrastructure systems in America, right? Our trains, I mean, just on and on. If that's something that perhaps you're with your position and your company might be interested.
Well, it is. And so you think of Houston just recently in the last couple of weeks. This adds significantly to reliability. We can triple the life of an aircraft engine, as an example, taking it from 2,000 to 6,000 hours. Similarly, and the ultimate, of course, is going to railroad steel. And because we actually are able to double the life of that steel, referencing back to an old concept of John Galt. But that particular industry is much larger than, we're still a micro company. And so getting into that is in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So we may, and as I'm running out of calendar here, may end up spinning it off. Yeah. Thanks so much. Grateful.
Thank you both so much. That was great. And now on to good news. Philip Paulin has volunteered to run good news for us today.
Are you muted, Peter?
Philip, are you still there? I think he blew you off. Uh-oh.
All right, who wants to do it? I see your hands all flying up.
Pete's waving his hand around. Are you volunteering?
Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, very, very quick one. I just got a call right before this meeting started that I just received notice for my vaccine. I happen to be that guy. So I'm 64 and have diabetes and obese, right? So really, really excited going to Craig to get my shot. And then they said your second shot happens to be on April 1st, April Fool's Day. So, but very grateful. So $100 for good news.
Yay. Pete, you get to take it the rest of the way through for that good news.
Well, Kit's here. She's a good commentator.
Do you mind running it? And
I don't know how to run it. So.
Just call on people. Can you see the private chat?
I cannot. No, I can't see a thing. I see nothing.
We can manage.
Good job getting out of it. Well, nobody wants to hear me do it for the next.
I think it's worth mentioning that our good news is in lieu of fines, which a lot of Rotary clubs do fines. Although we do like people to throw in $50 if we're in a meeting and their phone goes off. And all the money that's raised through Good News goes towards scholarships. So that's worth it.
I'll double my good news then, up to 200.
Pete Paulin, fantastic.
Well done.
Julian, we had a number of birthdays listed off. I'm sure there are a lot of people on this call that can weigh in.
I'm
with
back.
Good news.
All right, Mark and I are gonna, oh, there you are.
I so apologize, guys. My phone was down at 1% and I had to run in and grab my laptop.
All right,
So-
take it away. You raised $200 while you were gone.
Oh, I'm sure that's thanks to Peter. I'll kick it off as well with $10. Welcome, Kit and Peter. Great presentation. Thank you so much for joining our club. And then this past weekend, good news. I had was fortunate to go into Buckskin Gulch for another hike with my fiance and Paria Canyon. If you guys have never done that, it's on the Utah-Arizona border, and it's a wonderful about 7-mile hike to the confluence where they meet. And then we camped and then hiked back out. So I see Ian Engel is next for good news. Ian?
I'm here.
You're up next.
My good news is right there. This is a spitting image Azuma, the aspiring 4-legged Rotarian. We'll see if she can fit the bill. It's Mita. She's got a whole story behind her name that has to do with Lakota spiritual coming togetherness that I won't go into great detail. And I'd like to throw in $15 and for a successful puppy transfer. We've got a little pioneer here that came in from Michigan, and I couldn't be more pleased.
All right, thanks, Ian. I also see Carol contributed $10, and so did Karen for leaving early. And I think I saw Jeremy bailing with $25 earlier as well. Angela. All right, Coleman, you're up next.
Thanks, Philip. Probably struggling as to how this exactly translates to good news. But as Jillian alluded to, I do have a birthday coming up next Tuesday. It happens to be 50. 50. How does this happen? And then on top of that, she also reminded me that 21 years in Rotary for a combined total of, let's not count. But Angela, for all that, why don't we just round it up to a cool C note for me? Thank you.
Yay, happy birthday, Coleman. Thank you so much. Let's see, Ed Albright.
Howdy, good news. I'd like to do $10, but what I really would like to do is go to the Rotary Ski Day on Tuesday the 16th. And Mount Warner has a medallion, but it's being used that day. And I'm wondering if someone else might have a medallion that I could use to go skiing that afternoon. So if somebody does, or you have an idea where I might be able to get one to borrow for a half a day, please let me know.
Hey, Ed, if you can't get a medallion, you can ski as my companion with an adaptive pass for $35 for the day.
All right, sounds good, Ian. I will touch base with you then.
It looks like Holly also donated $10, and it looks like Adrian just raised her hand.
Hi, everyone. So my daughter's 17th birthday is coming up on Thursday. So I'm going to go, or she and I are going to go to Snowbird and Deer Valley to go skiing to celebrate her birthday. And also right now, I'm typically on a hot trip with a great group of steamboat ladies, Jillian being one of them. We had to cancel this year due to COVID and avalanche reasons, but instead a smaller group of us for COVID again did Hogan Park on Sunday, which was awesome, super fun hike from Rabbit Ears over to the mountain. And so lucky to be able to do that. And so I'll do 25, Ange, for that. Thanks.
That's awesome, Adrian. Happy birthday to your daughter. It looks like Brian Harrington is donating $100 because he says he's overdue for good news. And I saw that Tracy Hyatt gave $20 for Coleman's birthday. Carrie Shea, how are you, sir?
Good, Philip. How are you?
I'm good. It's like sunny and 54 here in Flagstaff.
All right. Well, enjoy that on behalf of all of us. That's great. Coleman, I don't for a second believe you're turning 50. I think we should request a birth certificate. You've got that perpetual Steve McQueen look. Keep it going, my friend. Thank you, Peter and Kip. Great presentations, amazing life stories and accomplishments. Awesome to have you part of the club. And just want to share some good news out of the Shea household. The Shea girls and the hockey teams continue to battle through COVID and get out there and stay active. Our U19 team was able to win all their games in Summit the past weekend, and now we're the top team in their division, as well as our U15 teams heading into state playoffs. Hopefully, fingers crossed, at the end of the month. So trying to keep everyone active and safe. So good to see everyone.
Looks like Marge Tracy just put in $10 to welcome the Paulins. And
Philip, sorry, I wanted to say I got a private message from Michelle Garner, who's still having audio problems. Wanted to say thank you to the Paulins. Also, $20.
perfect. Thanks, Michelle. And it looks like Hazel just raised her hand.
Well, I was going to wait till next week because Coleman and I share the same birthday, which is, I think, next Tuesday, March 9th. But he was saying how old he is, and everybody's like, no, you can't be. So I'm like, maybe you'll treat me the same. So I'm going to put in 53 and wait for everybody to be like, no, you can't be. And it's a week away.
Well, happy birthday or early birthday, Hazel. And then
you
it looks
can't
like,
believe it, right, Philip?
no, I cannot. I would have sworn you were 30.
Right on.
Looks like Tara Weaver raised her hand.
Hazel, it can't be. It can't be. I want to put 20 in for Peter and Kit. Amazing. That was such a fun presentation to watch. And I love that picture, Kit, of you and your sisters and friends with the hula hoops. So fun. So thank you for sharing today. Looking forward to getting to know you both better.
Thanks, Tara. And it looks like, I don't know if you saw, Angela, that Carrie put in $20. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll go ahead, Philip. This is John.
Go ahead, John.
Holloway. How are you?
Good, and you?
You look nice and toasty down there. How do you raise your hand on this thing? I see everybody raising hands and I don't get it.
I think you can go to reactions and then it has a hand raise right there.
The reactions, okay.
Next to in bottom of the screen.
I see it. Official now. I want to put in $30. Welcome to Sarah and Chuck. And Chuck, we're all obviously hoping you bring Lynn by too. Thank you. Great presentation by the Paulins. And I wanted to put in the $30, especially for Coleman. I remember not so long ago, he was the youngest Rotarian, just about the time Tara came along, actually. So happy birthday to everyone and have a great day. Thanks.
Thanks, John. And it looks like John Weibel is outside now and raised his hand.
Yeah, and put in $29 because Hazel can't be over 30 years old. So, and then I had a great weekend up on Buff Pass, and I got to cut the line for my birthday with my son, giving me trips to the top of the mountain. And finally, I've had a cheesemaker 2 years ago that kind of helped me learn how to make yogurt, and she left and it never worked about the time the ingredient must have changed, but found out how to make something very similar to yogurt that I don't need a $60,000 piece of equipment to package. And so I'm very happy about being able to do that again.
Well, thanks, John. Congrats on those successes.
Philip, Paul Hebert is raising.
That's it.
Go ahead, Paul.
Thanks to the Paulins. That was wonderful. Those both presentations were just great. I'd like to give $25, $10 for my 10th anniversary. I did have 3 years before I left and then came back. And then the other bit is for getting my second vaccine shot. I feel a sense of freedom coming upon me and looking forward to taking advantage of that. But I've got to wait another at least 2 weeks before we reconvene our old folks poker game. All of us are over 75. So anyway, again, thanks so much to the Paulins. That was wonderful. You guys take care.
Paul, maybe Hazel could join you for that poker game. Oh, wait, no, wrong direct. No, she's not old enough yet. Where are you, Hazel? I love you. Did she drop off? Oh, there you are.
No, she's still there.
Keep it coming.
Anyone else
I'm gonna
raising
keep
their
doing
hand?
my little heart reactions.
Do I see anyone waving?
Can somebody tell me where I missed it, John Holloway, where we're meeting and what time for the ski day, so I can jot that down?
Yes, it's on 2 weeks from today on the 16th at the T-Bar. The T-Bar's at the end of Ski Time Square Drive, right on the slopes, and we'll start at 1:15, ski for the afternoon, and then reconvene there around 3:30.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Looks like Angela just raised her hand.
Just I'll put in $5. I'm just putting money in, or wanting to say, Loretta put $63 in. She had told me that at the beginning. Her birthday's the 26th, not the 25th. I doubt 63 is how old she is, but and then Mike Nelson, sorry guys, but there's a lot of stuff in the chat, so this is going to take me a little bit to get to Mike Nelson's note. I don't know if you guys saw Mike Nelson's note, but he was putting in $19 for, I have to take off early, put me down for 19 in dishonor of COVID-19. I'm hoping to bribe Miss Rona into going away and leaving our kids out of quarantine. And then I think you noticed that Jeremy Bailing had put in the 25. I've been trying to keep track of who everybody has been saying. I don't know if there was any extras, but just thank you for the Paulins, great presentation. And that's it. Oh, and thank you, Mark, for putting in Chachi's dance into the chat.
My absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Angela, and for all that you do, keeping track of all those monies for the club.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I have $75 from Steve Weiss. Apparently he forgot he had a birthday last month. I don't think it was 75, but between that and his 1-year anniversary, he wanted to put in 75. He's having a procedure today, so I'm representing him.
He also wanted that to be applied to my total from last week, and he told us at pickleball together. Jillian forgot that part.
But I'm gonna report it in today's.
I think it's happening today. Wow, 904 so far. Wow.
And then
That's
I'm
a
gonna
good
put
day.
in some money for Angela and all she does for our club. And I'm gonna put in some money for our presentation today from the Paulins. That was great. And also,
Rich Gore wants to weigh in, Jillian.
what?
When you're done, don't shut the meeting down. Rich Gore has something he'd like to add.
Oh, okay. And then some money. I saw a card the other day that I'm just going to verbalize for you, Hazel. It says you could totally get away with saying you're 29. And then you open it up and it said it would just be really awkward because you'd have to explain how you've had a really hard life. And
Thank you. I really had to add up. I'm like, it can't be 53. Like, it can't.
I'm thankful I'm born in January because there's only 18 days a year that I can be wrong if I do the subtraction.
Or you could be wrong by a decade.
So Jillian, how much are you adding? It looks like Brad Meeks made it to 950. He added 50, so it's 954.
Yeah, and then my other, I was gonna do $10 for each one of those. So, and then my last $10 is for seeing Brian Harrington on the call today. Very nice to see you.
So is that 40, Jillian?
40, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess we're only $6 short, so you can add 6 more to me, and that makes it $1,000.
Rich, do you want to go?
Go ahead, Rich.
What am I doing? I just throw in
Contributing to
$10.
good news.
$10.
All of a sudden, you're speechless.
No speech, not this time.
Anybody else out there?
I'll go.
Heather Martin.
Oh, Heather Martin.
I apologize. I'll put in $20 for my lack of attendance. I had someone who came to my door, and so I kind of missed it, unfortunately. But maybe Angela, you could pay me because you didn't announce that it's my birthday in March too. Just kidding, of course.
When is your birthday?
Ridiculous. It's okay.
When is it?
I'm okay. I know I'm okay.
When is
my
it?
birthday's March. It's the 30th.
I didn't get invited to the birthday party, so I didn't know.
I'm filling out the event form now. So I'll be sure and put in my $29 come March 30th.
Happy birthday.
It is a Tuesday.
I'll get you the same card I got Hazel.
Yes, please.
All right, I think that looks like it's it, President Jillian. It looks like we made $1,024.
I think that is a record.
Nicely done, team.
Good job.
All right, to wrap up, a couple of things. Next week, Tara Weaver is going to present with all the grant recipients from our last round. There is a board meeting next Monday, March 8th. It'll be at noon and it will be virtual. So there will be login information in the write-up today if anybody wants to join that. You should really come, especially if you haven't been before. You just get a really good idea of some of the workings and all the different things that are going on. It's a pretty great conversation usually. Ski day on 3/16. Like John said, we will be meeting at T-Bar 1:15-ish. We'll have a short meeting beforehand and then we'll ski for a little bit. And if permitted by the county, maybe we'll meet back up at the end of it. We're going to do that kind of on a game day decision on that one. And then farm to table dinner, put it on your calendar for June 26th. It's a really great dinner. You'll be happy you went. Anybody else before we wrap it up?
I had one question. I distinctly, I don't know if Scott Marr did that last week, but he said he had good news money from last week. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but I don't know if he chimed in while I was not on the call.
It's in the recording. He did not, from last week, he did not chime in this week. That's still on.
And he conveniently bounced off this call.
He's gonna have to kick it down to next week, I guess.
Oh, we'll hold him accountable.
Yeah. Next week he's gonna have a lot of good news.
It looks like he's still here. He's still here.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's still on the call.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Oh.
His video off. He's silently waiting to see if we would catch him. First,
If your
Scott,
video's not on, I give you about a 25% chance of actually
Did
being.
you guys, somebody was trying to unmute me. I'm sorry, I had an incoming phone call.
that was
trying to
good,
be-
Scott. Philip had some feedback for you.
We remembered last week that you had some good news that you were going to share this week, and so I figured I'd call you out on that.
God, I don't even remember.
Should we go to the recordings?
I'll just kick in $50 for having being absent-minded and having dementia and not remembering what it was I was going to say.
It was for the 2020, Ellen, what is it? The thing, the Rotary International event, wasn't it that we're in 20?
Oh, well, yeah. So I don't know if that's worthy of good news. But I did get a call last week for, we have Steve Sainert is going to be our 23 to 2024 district governor.
Yeah.
And we are not quite in the process of planning that yet, but I do have a hold on the grant for the weekend of, I think it's the 17th to 19th of June that year, Steve, is that correct?
That's correct, Scott. Yeah, I picked the date and you got the reservation for us.
Yes.
Real
So
happy.
we got that all set up, and there are not that many people that are still in the club that were around the last time we did this. Where are there? Raise your hands if you were. Okay.
I was here. I had just moved to Denver.
Paulin was there. 50% probably were there last time, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great event, and we're looking forward to doing that again and showing all of the District 5440 Rotarians what a great place Steamboat is. And I have Ellen Kendall as my co-chair, which is exciting. She's always fun to work with. There you go. I got my $50 worth.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, you
Julian,
bet.
last week in your notes for the end of the meeting, I couldn't suss out what you were trying to say about the Passport Club, so I didn't share that announcement, whatever it was.
Oh, well, the district is putting together a Passport Club, which, our club has been talking a lot over the last few years about different ways that we can involve new people that noon on Tuesday doesn't work for, or financially our club asks too much. And so the Passport Club for District 5440 is, my theory is that they were listening to our conversations and just acted on all of the good ideas that we had in those brainstorms. But it gives you the opportunity to not identify with just one club. If you want to chime into different clubs or they meet at different times, it's a pretty neat opportunity. So the call out from the district is, if you know people that are Rotarians at heart or would like to be a Rotarian but just don't fit into the model that we're providing, the district has a Passport Club now that is a really good option to bring people in and, give them the Rotary bug without having a set date and time every week. I wrote about it in last week's write-up, so you can always click on the information in there and get more directly from the district. There was an attachment too, which I can tell you read, Mark. Thanks for bringing it up.
I wanted to give you the opportunity to share that.
That's good. That's good. Everybody wants to hear me talk more. Oh, and Holly just brought up the point that Evelyn Berge is a member of a Passport Club out of California. And she used to be a member of this club. But when it didn't work for her anymore, she opted for a Passport. So it's a neat opportunity and something we can, check out and maybe learn from in ways that we can incorporate that into our club, or incorporate people in Passport Clubs into more of our activities. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, let's open it up and chit chat for a little while.